Hey everyone, and welcome back to Esther, ST. I hope that you're doing very well, and I'm really believing that you are preparing for your Christmas with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and we are wishing you a blessed and prosperous Happy New Year in advance as well for 2024. I'm going to be talking about how I prepared for marriage and what you need to know firsthand. So without further ado, let us begin. Marriage, marriage, marriage. Marriage is a gift from God, but it's a gift of legacy. And legacy is something that we all carry within us. Now, when it comes to marriage, it's more than just yourself. It's about two people coming together for God's purpose, to live a life that is pleasing to Him by being fruitful and multiplying in all aspects of life. Now, where to start from my journey of being married? Let's rewind back and talk about working on self by positioning. And I want to take you back in 2020. As we know, the pandemic initially kicked off in 2019, but became more intense in 2020. And in that year, I was very intentional about not just working on my business, but working on myself, learning new skills, enhancing my abilities. And in that same year, after my first workshop in March 2019, we found out that no one could do any workshops, any seminars, any events anymore. We all had to work from home. So I remember in that period of April, I sat down in my room and I said to myself, Esther, you've got so much in you. The gifts that you have in you, you need to start utilizing it more. But I knew that word wasn't just for me. It was for other people who needed to hear it. So what did I do? I decided to create a YouTube video about utilizing your gifts. And I'm also going to leave that video in the description bar below for you to watch in your own time. And I remember taking the time to really bask in the gifts that God gave me and is continuing to give me and maximizing it. That's when I decided to have monthly seminars online via Zoom. And through those monthly seminars, I started to see more consistency, not only in business, but in aspiring authors publishing their books. Now, even in the year of 2020, yes, I was expectant, I was positioned because I desired a life partner. So what did I do? I started reading books. I started listening to sermons about relationships and marriages. I looked at the areas in my life that I knew I needed improvement with. And that included my mental state, my emotional well-being, my financial status, my health, my social life, so many areas of my life that I had to work on. And yes, we are not perfect, hence the reason why we are all work in progresses. But through that transformation, through that transition, I was evolving to a new level. And I get so emotional talking about this because when it is your time, no one can stop it. And I knew it was my time because God used a few people to reveal to me the season I'm in right now. And this was when I wasn't even with my husband. I was single, expectant. But what I did do, I took that seriously. I wrote down those words, I prayed over them, and I released it to God. The consistency of this man that is now my husband has made me realize that when someone speaks a word into your life, you better obey it. Fast forward later, God used my now husband to pursue me. And I remember when we met in March 2021, I can't even express how calm I was and how forward-thinking my husband is, that he pursued me with such good intentions. And I'm sharing this with you because being relentless for someone is important. You have to know what you want. And the beautiful thing about God is when you are obedient to Him and you trust God, He will provide for you and He will show you why His ways will always be better than your own. When I say the tears I cried, the moment everything fell in place, I knew that God's hand was on this. So I really want to take this opportunity to encourage you not to give up. And even if you're still waiting, keep waiting. Prayer and fasting helps. Don't take it lightly when you're praying and fasting for a husband. Take it seriously. And we know the enemy, he does not like marriages. But for me, I knew I had to hold on to what God wanted me to understand in the season that I was in as a single woman transitioning into marriage. And for this reason, I published my 7th book called The Becoming Woman. And the subtitle is Transitioning from the Season of Waiting to Intentionally Courting. And I tell you, writing this book, wow, I don't even know where to start. But this book has taught me that women, not only do they need to read, but they need to learn how to wait. And waiting is not easy. But I know what this book means, not only to myself, but to even married couples that can learn from this. But ultimately, it is for the woman that is positioned and expectant to receive her husband. And now we are on our 3rd book series, which will be starting on Friday, the 26th of January 2024. So make sure that you do attend. If you don't have a copy of the book, please purchase the book either on Amazon or our website, authenticworth.com, and bring it with you during our series. And for those who already have a copy of the book, registration is still required via Eventbrite. So please do register on Eventbrite. So what you need to know firsthand before getting into a relationship and preparing for marriage. The first one is God has to be in the center of all your decisions. God has to be your first and ultimate source before anything else. Going to God has made everything so easy. The process of meeting my husband was so seamless up until the point of planning our wedding, which I thoroughly enjoyed, and I would love to do a video about that. So if you would like to hear my experiences of how I planned our wedding, leave your comments below. The second point is having an intimate relationship with God. Intimacy with God reveals a lot about your life. Intimacy with God sharpens you. Your spiritual discernment grows. You're more wiser in making decisions. And you know that whether it's His voice or the world's voice, you are able to distinguish it. Having that intimacy with God, you are able to write down your specific desires, which I will go through very soon. Those desires that you need, write them down to Him, and He will tell you yes, no, or wait. The third step is to work on yourself spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, socially, every aspect of your life. I really am a strong believer that even as a woman, you need to get your finances in order. You need to get your mindset in order. You need to get your friendship circle in order. Because there are certain things that God wants to give you, but He can't necessarily give it to you because you're in the wrong environment. Every area of your life needs working on, a thorough cleansing. So don't hesitate whenever you feel that trigger that you know you need to change. Listen to that, because that is a sign that transition is here. The fourth point is asking yourself if you would like to be around you. In other words, how is your character? Your character speaks for you. Your character will take you places where you haven't been. Your character will open doors of what you already have. I knew for me, my character is something that cannot be compromised. Neither can it be negotiated. When it came to meeting my husband, it was the character that I was attracted to. Not just how much he was earning, not his car, not where he works, but ultimately his integrity. The characteristics that he believes in, are they compatible? The fifth point is knowing what you want in a man by what you attract in your life. So I'm a strong advocate that you attract what you are. And anything you attract, it will add itself onto you. So if you attract a negative mindset, you attract other people who have a negative mindset. But when you attract someone that is positive, it's because you have worked on yourself. So know who you are attracting into your life. Again, it comes down to, do you want to be around you? Are you fun to be around? Are you attracting the right things your way? Or are you just settling for anything? And as queens, we don't settle. I remember saying to myself a while back, Esther, your name means queen, royalty, elegance. So you attract that. And you, my dear sister, are eloquent. Don't settle, because God has great for you. The sixth point is reading relationship and marriage books that will stimulate and position you to marriage. And I'm going to show you some of the books that I read in my season of waiting, to courting, and now to marriage. The first book that was actually gifted to me by my maid of honor is called the DIY Wedding Manual. When I got this book, I was so emotional. Again, I talk about having faith into what you desire to see, even though it hasn't happened. This book is very good for those who are looking to plan their wedding by themselves. Thankfully, during our wedding, we did have a coordinator who was very helpful, and the entire team. But for those who are looking to save money, of course we all are, and having a cost-effective wedding, definitely getting this book is a must. I will be giving this book away, and what you will need to do is subscribe to this YouTube channel, comment why you would like this book in the section below, and I will pick a winner at random, and the winner will be announced in January 2024. The next book I read during my season of waiting is called Not Yet Married: The Pursuit of Joy in Singleness and Dating by Marshall Siegel. Now this book is wow. I remember taking my time to read it in 2021, and it helps me to see things from the author's perspective, the mistakes that he made, and how he was able to pursue and know his wife. There's so much to cover in this book, so I would highly recommend getting your copy on Amazon. The third book is Things I Wish I'd Known Before We Got Married by the one and only Gary Chapman. I remember this book being recommended, and I decided to take the leap and buy it. I've heard good things about this author, and I can tell you the book is excellent. If you read the reviews on Amazon, you will see why you need to get a copy of yours. This man knew what he was doing, and I highly encourage you, before you plan your wedding, plan your marriage. Don't just rush into getting married by having a beautiful wedding, but then in the marriage it's not beautiful. This book teaches you about the fundamental ways you can prepare yourself before you say I do. Because that I do is not only a commitment to those around you, but it is a commitment to God. The next book is called The 5 Love Languages, and I'm sure, if not all, the majority of us knows what this book is and what it entails. And it also has a quiz for you to do to determine your love language. Now, I love this book so much because it covers a lot about the character of a woman, the character of a man, what your husband likes, what your wife likes, and also learning how to build a friendship before getting into a relationship. The next book is The Power of a Praying Wife. Wow. The title alone, it drew me. My dear friend who is married recommended this book to me. This book, oh my goodness. The author herself, she knew what she was doing. One of the reasons why I encourage you to read books about marriage is because these are people who are all married now. Either they wrote it in their season of singleness, transitioning into marriage, or they wrote it when they were married. It is a gift to you. Books can never be compromised. What you learn from someone's situation or someone's relationship is actually saving you a lot of time, and you never want to take that for granted. So I encourage you, if you want to prepare for marriage, you need to learn how to pray for your husband. You need to learn how to intercede for him. You also need to learn how to pray for yourself. It's not just listing down all the things that you want in a husband, but you're not looking at the areas in yourself that you need to change. This book will change your life mentally, spiritually. Don't take prayer lightly. Don't let it be your last resort. This book is worth 10 stars because the power of a praying wife, not even the power of a praying woman, although she does have a book series. She has different books with different titles. And there is a book called The Power of a Praying Woman. But for those who are positioned to be married and to be wives, get your hands on this book ASAP. And the last book that I read during my season of being engaged was a book by Pastor Eno Jerry, and it's called I Almost Ruined My Marriage. Just because you're married doesn't mean that you're going to get everything perfect, which is why I had to humble myself and position myself to learn from those who are ahead of me. Her humility to accept her flaws and the willingness to accept the fact that she needed to work on herself was a sure way for her to sustain her marriage. Look at the title, guys. I almost ruined my marriage. And you can't say that there aren't good marriages out there. There are very good marriages out there. It's how you work it. So these are all the books that have kept me very occupied in the season of planning and preparing for marriage. And I encourage you, wherever you are, if there's other books that are out there that I have not mentioned and you've benefited from, do let those in the comments section below know, because it's really important that as a community we work together. Take the time to study these books. Take the time to truly understand how you can work on yourself, how you can develop yourself as a woman, even as a man, to be married. I'm so thankful for those who are ahead of us that can talk about their journeys about marriage and about dating and courting. And I want you to be a part of it. So make sure you get the books. The next point is being around godly relationships and marriages that you would like to emulate. There are a few people that I truly honor with all my heart because they have shown consistency, resilience, and perseverance in their marriage. And the first people that I would like to celebrate and honor are my parents. They've been married now for over 41 years. And that is a big example of what it is to have enduring, long-lasting marriage. Despite the ups and downs, they have remained faithful. They have not given up on each other. And the road hasn't been easy. But again, when you are around people who have such a strong relationship turned into a marriage that can then lead to fruit, it is a blessing. So it's very important that you find the people that inspire you to pursue marriage and to believe that you too can position yourself for it as well. The next one is to remember that God is the standard. Not your husband, not the venue that you're going to get married, not the wedding dress, but God himself. Remember that God is your reflection. God is the standard. He wants you to reflect him first before you start thinking about anything else. So when you think about marriage, think about godly marriage. Think about how God sees you as his bride. He is the standard to everything in this life. So when you know that, he's then able to position you and make you ready and available for marriage. God is the standard. The next one is knowing who you are. I am Esther before I'm a wife. Because sometimes we can get very caught up in the wife title that we miss the fact that we are who we are. The names that have been given to us is who we are, and that will never change. I am Esther before I was a wife, and I will still continue to remain Esther. So know who you are before you position yourself into wifehood. Know that you are your name first before declaring that you are a wife. Because we know you're a wife, but you're also an individual. Don't get caught up in the title, but just to remember who you are in Christ. And last but not least, I want to recommend again The Becoming Woman, Transitioning from the Season of Waiting to Intentionally Courting. This book is preparing you for marriage. This book is also helping you to understand who you are as a woman and what the waiting period requires you to do. So I'm going to read a bit about it, and I'm going to allow you to take the time to purchase it and join us next month in January for our third series. So it says here that the author takes us on a journey of seasoned endurance and expectancy. It challenges the reader to own their season and position themselves to greater levels of growth. The author prepares the reader to measure their progress and embrace change in getting ready for the season of courting. Before entering this stage, there must be a mature awareness of where the becoming woman is positioned. Is she content in her life's journey? Only she knows. The reader will be bold to examine triggering moments as each page is turned, building her stamina, character, and integrity to be sustained in testing times. The becoming woman is a continuous assignment that can't be substituted with instant gratification or environmental pressure. She knows that evolving has its rewards and will come as she patiently waits well. Study and reflect on the becoming woman to help you understand the waiting season to increase and prepare you for greatness. To empower the woman next to you is to understand her story before speaking and giving her time to flourish. No matter the stagnation and what you are going through, the Becoming Woman releases you from within to experience and enjoy wholeness in transition. This book prepares you. If I was single, I would read this book myself. So that's it for now. I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for listening to this video. I am believing that it has inspired you, provoked you, and challenged you to be positioned to meet your to-be husband, or for the men that are listening, to be wife. And I want to encourage you, when you can endure the waiting season, and when you can patiently learn from what you need to know in that moment, you are ready to be in a relationship. So don't feel the need to fight the quietness or to fight the season of waiting, because it's doing you a massive favor that you will not even realize until it comes to pass. As mentioned before, I will be giving this book away to one person. All you need to do is like this video, subscribe, share to a friend, and comment down below why you believe you deserve to win this book. And the winner will be announced in January 2024. And I'm looking forward to seeing you next month in January for the Becoming Woman book series, part 3. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.